Saturday, September 14th, 09:53 a.m. New York time. Welcome to Winning Wall Street's Money. It's almost mid-month. We're going to go over the Dow 30 stocks, one of the oldest stock indexes. And we'll go alphabetical order to look at each company. Has the 30 largest publicly traded companies in the United States. So not all companies are listed on the stock market. The ones in the Dow 30 are the 30 largest publicly traded companies in the United States, the value of them. So we're looking here at a 5-year weekly chart, 5 years of history, each candle a week. Here's the low for the past 5 years. 2020, the year 2020 was the low. And here's the high, 2024. Zoom in. Here's the beginning of this year, the low of this year. And we're just shy of retesting the high of this year. Outstanding. Huge consolidation here. Small consolidation here. Staircase pattern, higher high. We are strong like a bull. This big green candle was an impulse move up, broke above this midpoint, and closed above it. Then we continued going higher, making the high of the year. Then we did a trend reversal, lower high, lower low, and a labeled midpoint in this big green candle. This past week, we tested it, broke it, reversed, closed green above it, and we also closed above the close of this red candle. This red candle had closed down here at the bottom. Strong reversal, strong demand. Big wick down here. A lot of buyers saw this as an opportunity, what they thought was a value, looking at price value, and they bought at the dip. If you've been following me for the past 2 weeks, I've been sharing very clear, be smart, look to buy value. It occurred here. One could have done it with the index, or if you wanted to work harder, you look for the companies in the index that are performing either equal or better. And that's what we're going to go now. Look at the 30 companies, alphabetical order, see which ones are performing better than the Dow index. Here they are, alphabetical order. We'll open up them on their own chart. Again, weekly chart, 5 years of history. First one's Apple. Here's the low, 2020. Here's the high, this year. Here's the low of this year. Here's the high of this year. And look, it's lower from the high versus the Dow. So again, the Dow index is performing better than Apple. But similar things occurred here. Remember, the Dow did a deeper retracement into its midpoint. So this is not a trend reversal yet. It still made a lower high, lower low. What changed here is that this past week, we closed green inside the prior trading range and closed above the close of that red candle. Red candle closed right there in the bottom of that body. We'll see if we get a trend reverse. Amgen. Here's the low for the past 5 years, 2020. Also, this year, the high. Here's the low of this year. Huge consolidation. Big wick, look at that swing low. So this consolidation, very tight, building a lot of energy for a breakout one way or the other. Amazon. Here's the low for the past. Let's fix this up. There we go. The low for the past 5 years down here. The high for the past 5 years up here. Zoom in. Here's the low for this year. Here's the high this year. Just like the Dow. Dow's closer to the high. Amazon's not. Both had huge green candles this week. Amazon just got added this year to the Dow 30. Dow 30 took out companies and replaced them with the new ones. This orange vertical line was the week Amazon got added to the Dow. So this big body engulfed, broke above, strong above this move here. Very likely going to test this impulse move down to the upside. American Express. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Here's the low for this year. Look at Amazon. American Express. Very similar. This is the Dow on the right, American Express on the left. Very similar bodies, very similar patterns. Yeah, interesting. So the financials, American Express and the financials, strong up here. Nice. Look at that big wick went down, retested this, buyer stepped in. They liked American Express. And now we're looking at Boeing. Top left, here's the high for the past 5 years. Here's the low for the past 5 years. And Boeing this week made a new low for the year. Bad. Yep. Terrible. It did test this swing high up here some time ago. Look at that, rejected it. New low for the year. Breaking news. Boeing made a new low for the year. Compared to the Dow, the Dow's close to the high. Yep. Lots of problems. So again, I'm showing you, you work hard for your money. You're an adult, own up. Why would you want to be buying a loser like here instead of buying a winner that's been proving itself? You're on the right. Caterpillar. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. Here's the low this year. Very far from the high. Yeah. Look at this big impulse move down here, this purple, this red candle, purple horizontal line, went up, tested it, broke above it, closed above it, and then reversed. So let's remove that, which oftentimes you see these key levels get tested. How that would have worked, if you were bullish, that would have been a place you would consider closing that trade instead of adding to it, or just tighten up your stop. Just had that big sell-off next. Look at this, big green candle, impulse move up, midpoint, came down, buyer stepped in already, just like the Dow. Strong move. Yep, this week's strong move. The indexes show it, and good companies that are mirroring the index showed it, where Boeing, the loser, is doing worse. So again, potential move here on the upside, all the way there. And Salesforce, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Zoom in, here's the low for the year. Same thing, that impulse move down, that red candle, we tested it, big rejection. Have a gap up here that has not gotten filled yet. Far away from the high. Yeah. Big rejection right there. Cisco Systems, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Zoom in for this current year. Same thing, just like the Dow. Look at that big green candle, big impulse move up, midpoint labeled, and look at that buyer stepped in there. Now we had a swing high here, took out, broke above it, and eventually made that reversal. Let's remove that, it's not valid anymore. Again, showing confidence that buyers stepped in here. So what we want to be looking for is to have a break above that red candle high here to the upside. If you understand advanced options, if you're bullish, well, one should be considered doing bull put spreads down here. Chevron, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Look, new low for the year. Again, loser, Chevron, loser, new low for the year. Big impulse move down. Might get up there and test that. So again, low for the year, buyer stepped in. They thought it was a value. They bought it right there. And the upside is some of these targets I'm showing you here, potentially upside. And then it might go up there on weakness and dump again. It's not leadership. Disney, here's a high for the past 5 years. Here's a low for the past 5 years. Look at the high for this year. So close. Oops. They must have adjusted it. Yep, something must have changed. So I need to update this. Just a minute. There we go. Here's a low for this year. Terrible. Dow again. Same similar green candle. Huge wick on the buyers. Buyers stepped in there, thought it was a value. But overall, it's not leadership. Far from it. Dow Chemical. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. And this week made a new low for the year. Loser. Yeah, but a lot of these companies are not helping the Dow. Goldman Sachs. Again, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. Interesting. Green candle, big impulse move up, midpoint, broke below it, tested it, closed above it, but the candle closed red. Looks like it closed just above that red body that prior week. Interesting. So if one would tell, if we're going to continue, because right now it still has that lower high and lower low. Home Depot, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Got strong breakout. Big move this week. Big body, strong body. Honeywell, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Let's zoom in. Here's the low for this year. Here's the high for this year. Big green candle too. Still stuck inside that range. It hasn't taken out that high. IBM, here's the low for the past 5 years. And this week made an all-time new high. IBM technology, outstanding. Big impulse move up. So one could be looking for that retracement, buy on a dip if you're bullish. Yep, maybe we get a midpoint test or some percentage of that. Intel, here's the high for the past 5 years. Made a new low for the year. Loser. Yep, big difference between IBM and Intel. Both technology, but different industries in technology. New low for the year. We have quite a few stocks have been showing here that making new lows for the years, whereas other ones making new highs. Certainly very clear who's the leadership. Here we go, Johnson & Johnson, the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. And just shy of making a new high for this year. Outstanding. Has this gap down here, has not got filled yet, nor tested it. Another financial stock, JP Morgan. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's a high for the past 5 years. In the past 2 weeks, lower highs, lower lows. Coca-Cola, here's the low for the past 5 years. Wow. Last week made an all-time new high. Nice. McDonald's, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's a high for the past 5 years. This year. And again, big move up this week. Has a gap here. It hasn't got tested nor filled yet. So when I say tested, because this was a gap up, this first orange line. Oops. Would be a test. And then this bottom orange line would be where we get filled. So also midpoint here, I need label. Got some potential areas on the downside. So again, if it breaks below here, this gap, big red, this midpoint could be tested. And same with this one. It's amazing. The McDonald's is performing better than what? AT&T. McDonald's performing better than Intel. And several other stocks that made a new low. McDonald's performing better than several of these technologies and financial ones. Wow. 3M, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. And again, up strong here, just shy of the high of the year. Merck, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Yep. Lower low, lower high. Even though it closed green, the trend is still down here. Big sell off that period. So it's in here, consolidation, building energy. Microsoft, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Huge move up, strong candle, impulse move up here. Nice. Nike, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. So if you're familiar with the situation, I share my Patreon page. Warren Buffett took a stake in Berkshire Hathaway some time ago. Some time ago, he bought it earlier this year. And then after the news came out, it got pumped up. Who knows if he bought put options or if he sold his stock. And since that news came out, almost did 100% retracement. Yeah. Buying on the news could be late to the game. Warren Buffett bought before the news because it was his news event that lured the new buyers in. Then a big sell-off. Low for the past, Procter & Gamble, low for the past years. And now look at Procter & Gamble, new high for the year. Amazing. Travelers, another financial, low for the past 5 years. New high for the year. Big diversification for what companies making new lows for the year and which one's making new highs for the year. United Health, here's the low for the past 5 years. Last week was the high for the, made a high for the year. And this week, huge trading range. Look at that big wick. Wick went down there. Verizon, here's the low. Sorry, Visa, here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Up strong in the past several weeks here, Visa. Nice. Looks like it's going to retest the high of the year. And there we go, Verizon Communications. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. And new high for the year. Amazing. Performing better than Intel. Verizon, wow. Finally broke above this consolidation here. And Walmart, here's the low for the past 5 years. Made a new high for the year. Walmart. New high for the year. Outstanding. So again, the stock index, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the stock ETF, DIA, we have several companies performing better than the stock index. Outstanding. New highs for the year. Outstanding. But the index is a great investment as well, too. If you want to get access to my video the same day I release it, that's exclusive to my Patreon members, my paid subscription subscribers. The link is below in the video. If you just want to follow me only on YouTube, well, you'll have to wait till I choose to make it public. But you want to subscribe to get that. And if you like the content I'm sharing and like to make a donation, well, I have a PayPal Venmo link there below in the description. And I appreciate any donations to show you support if you like the content. Hopefully you learn a lot of good information about the overall factual, what's happening in the markets on the stock index, one of the oldest ones, the Dow 30, as well as the companies inside of it. Thank you as always for spending just a little bit of your time with me. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching.